What's up, you guys? This is Kai from the DDC here, coming at you with part 1 of some special discussion videos. I've started watching this guy on YouTube known as My Retro Life, and watching his videos and seeing, just how much of a different world it was back during the late 80s and the 90s and all that has made me super nostalgic about my gaming origins, and I figured I would tell mine, and there will be like commercials that you guys are seeing of what I'm talking about. So I don't remember exactly when I started playing games. I don't remember what age. I know that I was pretty young. I know it was before I went to school. So possibly maybe 4, maybe. And the first console I ever played, because we already had it because my parents played video games. Actually, I should probably start there first. And it's that my parents, a lot of people in my family played video games. One of my uncles on, my uncle on my mom's side of the family is still big into video games to this day. My older brother, one of my older sisters is, but the other two isn't. Although they dabbled here and there. My mom and dad was in it. Even my grandfather was in it. My aunt, 2 of my aunts got into it. So gaming was a big part of it. Actually, it's still a big part of my life, and it's still a hobby that hasn't really changed over the years. I mean, graphics got better, technology got better, but it's still something that is still in my life. Because recently, maybe about a couple weeks ago, I went out for a bit with my sister to get some ice cream from a local ice cream place, and we stopped by our old elementary school, and they tore it down and rebuilt it. So even though that it's my school in name only now, that got me thinking, like, holy crap. A lot of the places that I went to as a kid, they're slowly starting to not exist anymore. And obviously that happens, right? So, with that said, let's jump straight into the origin story. My parents already had a Super Nintendo. They also had like a couple NESs, and then they also started out, I think they started out with the 2600, but I know that my mom started playing video games even during the 70s, because they mentioned about something how, like, you could put these these screens over the TV and play like tennis and all that. And I know which console that was. I remember the Angry Video Game Nerd doing a video on it. I forgot what it was. That goes to show you how many consoles was released during the 70s and 80s. There were so many that flooded the market, and so many bad games that it made the video game industry crash. But this was before me, obviously, because I was born in 93. But we already had a Super Nintendo. Now, keep in mind, during that point, this was 93. The Super Nintendo was going strong. I might have started playing games when I was 4, maybe 3. I don't quite remember. But the first game I ever played was Super Mario World on the SNES. The SNES is a system I'm still super nostalgic about, because that's a system that I first ever played. We had, and we had a lot of games for it. Just to highlight probably like my top ones I played a lot as a kid. The Super Mario Kart, I remember going to the store and buying that. I remember also getting Yoshi's Island. Or I think we already had Yoshi's Island. I don't remember. I played that a lot as a kid. I played Super Mario World, obviously. One of my favorites was Cool Spot, even though that it was definitely a freaking advertisement for 7-Up. That game was it's still fun. It's still a fun game. And probably the last one I played a lot was probably the Timon and Pumbaa game. But I played a lot of games on that system. Like, I remember too, like, I would always play it at nighttime. I think I even played it during a storm even. Oh yeah, and Kirby Superstar. That was another game I played a lot as well. Actually, that's still my favorite Kirby game to this day. I was content. Obviously, the Sega Genesis was going strong at the same time, but I didn't know about Sonic or Sega until my best friend introduced me to it. But we'll be getting to that one either in this part or in part 2. I don't want to make this video too long. So obviously, the N64 comes out. The next generation of gaming consoles came out. And once again, I was still on my Super Nintendo. I had no care in the world. I was super content. And then all of a sudden, in 1999 to 2000, a little series came out for the Game Boy over here in America. And overnight, there was a new gaming sheriff in town, and that series was Pokemon. I remember those days fondly. I got into the cards relatively late. I think I got into Pokemon relatively late, but it was still when it was super like hyped. Like Pokemon Mania was still existing. I think when I got into it, it was around the time that Rocket came out. Which was in a way I think that's considered as like the last set of like the main base set of cards, because obviously after that is Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge, and then the Neo series. And I think a Legendary Collection came out during the Neo series or a little bit before then. I gotta re-look on Pokélector about that, but the first card I ever got was a base set 2 Charizard. And I remember watching the anime. I remember watching the first Pokemon movie. I remember, we rented the second movie from Family Video, and as a kid, I remember bawling my eyes out seeing, Moltres and Zapdos getting captured. And, those, I don't know why as a kid my brain registered that, their cries being cries of pain. And it probably was cries of pain, right? Because they were being... I'm sure those things that he was capturing them in was probably electrocuting them. Which kind of beats if he was, like, doesn't make sense for Zapdos because he's the electric type, but I guess in a way they can still be hurt by their own typings, I guess. But that movie introduced us to Lugia. Little did I know what I just watched. It was The Calm Before the Storm. Gen 2 was right around the corner. And my sister had a Game Boy Color. And what's funny though too is that I don't quite remember if she had games for it. I think she might have. I don't remember, but I do remember getting Pokemon Silver for Easter. I think it was not too long after it came out in America, and I literally hijacked my sister's Game Boy Color. That was the only game I had for that system, and that was and I'm sure that was probably most cases for a lot of kids back then. They probably only got a Game Boy or a Game Boy Color for one game, and that game was Pokemon. May it be Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Silver, Gold, or Crystal. I play that thing religiously. Like, I remember the box of it still. I remember the reflectiveness of it, the shininess, and like the reflectiveness of the card, and the fact that they had like goats, like silver sparkles on the cartridge. Like, I still remember that. I still remember how the packaging looks and all of that. You know, Pokemon Silver. That's why, to me, when like people ask me, you know, what my favorite generation is, that's why I always say it's a tie between Kanto and Johto. Gen 1 and Gen 2. Because I got into Pokemon right at that perfect point to where it was still Gen 1, the freaking excitement for Pokemon was still going strong, but it was before Gen 2, when obviously there were some people that got off the train already of the Pokemon hype train, but there were still people that stayed on it, and I was actually one of those people, which I will get to this eventually, that kind of got off it for a little bit during Gen 3. But there's a reason for that. So, what was my next big console after the Super Nintendo? I believe the Pokemon Silver and the first PlayStation happened roughly around the same time. Or we had the PlayStation 1 first, and then we got the and then I got Pokemon Silver after. I don't quite remember. I know that they were roughly around the same time. I remember going to our local pawn shop, picking up a PS1, and it wasn't the launch model to where they had that port in the back to where I think you could hook up like a modem to it or something like that. I think it was the last one before they introduced the PS1 Slim. And it came with Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, it came with Crash Bandicoot. I think we also had Crash Bandicoot 2 as well. But I played that game a lot. I still play my Super Nintendo on my Game Boy still. But that PS1 became my game of choice. And let me tell ya, despite the fact that obviously later on, when I learned about the N64, like I remember going to our local family video, which was my version of Blockbuster that I went to. That I remember seeing the game box of the N64, but it didn't register to me like, oh, Nintendo had a new console. I didn't care. Like, I wasn't into game collecting that. To be honest, a lot of my childhood games I had to get back because I was horrible with them. I damaged a lot of my games, and a lot of them got expensive nowadays on the used market. One of them being Digimon World 1. You know, that was another thing I got into, was Digimon during that time, and, you know, obviously, we all know that Digimon did not reach the same success as Pokemon did, and for some strange reason, people always consider the two franchises as, like, enemies, like, the two fan bases clash, and it's like, well, Digimon was more of an answer to Tamagotchi than it was to Pokemon. And I love both series for different reasons. And I remember getting Digimon World 1, and it was weird. It was a weird game. Like, it wasn't like Digimon World 2, 3, and 4 to where they became more RPGs. The first one was different, to say the least, from what I remember and what I've seen in Let's Plays. But going back to what I was saying, like, I didn't care about the N64 as a kid. If I was aware of it, I probably was, because I remember seeing the game boxes. I didn't care. We had everything that the N64 had and more. We had good RPGs. Actually, the PS1 was probably the go-to system for a lot of people that was into role-playing games during that time. We had the platformers. We had everything that Nintendo had and more. Well, question, not Nintendo, but I should word it as the N64 kids. Oh wait, do you guys have Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64 and Diddy Kong Racing? Oh well, cool, dude. Here, let me show you Crash Team Racing. I got a lot of my fixes, like I would have. I got a lot of my quote unquote Nintendo fixes on the PlayStation 1. And don't get me wrong, I respect the N64. I have one and I love it. But I'm just telling you all my opinion. I didn't care about the N64 as a kid. I was once again content with the PS1 and my Game Boy and my Super Nintendo. And one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 1 was Hydro Thunder. That was a great racing game. And if I recall, my Retro Life, if you ever see this, you featured Hydro Thunder in one of your Dreamcast videos. And that brought back some nostalgia for me. I loved that game. I loved, I even played the arcade version of it at the nearby Myers. The fact I still remember that, goes to show you how much those times were great. I miss those times. And, playing 3 Spiral games, which, again, we didn't need Mario 64. We didn't need, Donkey Kong 64. We didn't need Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie or Conker's Bad Fur Day. We had the platforms of our own. I've never seen, I'm sure that if I saw Mario 64, and I think that's what made me want to get a N64 later on, was that I remember watching my best friend play his all the time, and I was like, man, I wish I could play Mario 64, but I was content with my PS1 and my Super Nintendo and my Game Boy Color. Yes, I say it's my Game Boy Color because that thing became mine. I mostly played it. I don't think she had any games for it. My sister, that is. So that is part 1. That is the origin story. I hope you all enjoy this, and if there's anything I forgot, I would definitely let you all know. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Part 2 will be about will be about the PS2 era to probably about, probably will be around, it probably will be about the PS2 and the Game Boy Advance era and all that. So, anyways, guys, peace.